Hi everybody, it's Nadia from Imbali Crafts, and today I want to show you how to tie a 3-banded macrame bracelet. Right, I'm going to start by showing you which materials you'll be needing and what sort of tools you're going to be using. I have used 0.5mm Eslon cord for this project. You can use thicker cord for it if you want, or different type of cord is entirely up to you. Just bear in mind that seed beads and other beads may not fit onto thicker cords. Right, you will need about 9 length of 150 centimeters, which is roughly 59 inches of cord. Then you will need 2 shorter sections, which are going to be for the bases of the bracelet, of about 30 centimeters or 12 inches each. You will need 32 blue 6-odd seed beads, which is about 3 to 4 millimeters. Then you will need 12 4mm beads. You can use whatever you like, as long as the holes are big enough to have 2 cords threaded through, and the same actually goes for the seed beads. To finish off your bracelet, you will need 30mm ribbon ends. I'm not really sure how much that is. I think it's about 3 inches of ribbon ends. I'm not sure what the actual length is here. Then you will need a lobster clasp. Ideally it would be a little bit larger than the one that I have here. I just didn't have a bigger one, so I'm going to be using that. You will need a length of chain of about 8 centimeters, which is 3 or 4 inches long roughly. You will need an extra jump ring to attach your lobster clasp to your ribbon ends. And I think this is all the materials. And so basically what you'll need is obviously a pair of scissors as your tools to cut the cords. You will need some pins that will help you to hold down your work. Then it's not necessary, but I really quite like to have a needle handy, because often it happens to me all the time. I tie a bad knot and I really want to undo it, and a needle really helps me doing that. And then finally, this is also not a necessity, but to me personally it actually is. This is freight check. You can apply this to cord ends when you've cut them all, which really helps when you have to thread beads through, because often, especially with Eslon cords, the ends tend to fray a lot and then it's really difficult to thread on any beads. So I apply some of this to the end of the cords, which makes them hard, and then you can actually trim the cords at a slight angle to make them able to fit through the beads. And lastly, when you're finishing your project, you obviously need to glue the ends in place before you trim the cords off, otherwise your work will unravel. For that, I really like to use hypo cement. As you have seen, my hypo cement has really quite suffered. I've used it a lot, and it's really also quite a useful thing to have handy. If you happen to not have this handy, you can use a lighter, which is something that I use anyway, even with my glue. I know that many people don't like to use it with Eslon. I don't mind. It really makes everything much more neater and tidier, because often you have ends sticking out. And you'll need that, in my personal opinion anyway, to burn off the ends. And then obviously the tools to apply, or attach rather, your chain and your findings, and that's all you need. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to have to do is create the base for the bracelet, and to do that we need to attach all of our longer cords to one of our shorter cords. So take one of your shorter cords and attach it to your macrame board, and then take the first of your longer cords and fold it in half. Now take the end with the loop and feed it underneath the cord you have attached to your macrame board, and simply fold the loop over towards you, and take the 2 loose ends and pull that through, and simply pull it tight. Now this is called a reverse lark's head knot. Next we need to attach either cord on either side of it with a single hitch. To do that, just fold it over again like you did before, and feed the loose end through the resulting loop, and just pull that tight if you can see that, and do the same on the other side, like so. and then just simply pull that tight. I'm going to repeat the procedure with an extra cord just to show you. So fold your next longer cord in half, feed the loop through and over, then feed the two loose ends through the resulting loop and just pull that tight. Next, wrap either cord on the corresponding side and just feed the end through the loop, and the same again on the other side. And that's it. And then basically this is all you need to do. So take all of the other cords and attach them in the same manner until you have all 9 cords attached. So I'm just going to pull these across because I have previously attached them, so as not to bore you with attaching all of the cords. Now the next thing we're going to have to do is create a row of double half hitches. So what you need to do is release the right hand side of your holding cord, like so, because you're going to need to double it up. Then you're going to take one of your needles and use that as a point where you can bend your cord over. So I'm going to do that. Then simply take your holding cord and fold it over and start your row by taking the first cord in line, like so, and just attach it to the holding cord with a right double half hitch, like so. It's called a right double half hitch because I'm holding with my left and I'm knotting with my right, and also the resulting cord will stick out to the right, like so. I'm going to show this to you one more time slowly. So take your holding cord and loop your working cord over and feed the end through the resulting loop, like so, so that it's wrapped around that holding cord, and pull that tight, and simply repeat the procedure to complete a knot. It's quite simple. One more time. Fold it over, pull out towards the right, pull tight, and simply repeat. And that's it. Now we're simply going to have to attach all of the cords that are left with right double half hitches, like so. Right, now we are at the end of our second row, and again we're going to have to reverse knotting directions. So take another pin and just put it right at the end of the row so that it's a nice crisp edge, and simply reverse the cord, and we're going to be knotting from left to right. So take the first cord in line as before, and this time we're going to be tying a left double half hitch, meaning that the cord will terminate out towards the left. So take the cord in line and, as before, loop it over your holding cord like so, and feed it through the resulting loop, pull it tight, and that's all there is to it. And then to complete the knot, just simply repeat that procedure like that. And I'm going to do it one more time. Take the second cord in line and loop it over your holding cord, out through the loop, like so, pull it tight, and then to complete the knot, repeat. And as before, we're going to need to complete a full row so that we have the base of our bracelet. Alright, so this is our bracelet start, and you can just take your ribbon end to see if it will fit nicely. So the width is okay and the length is also fine. You could make more rows if you want the rows to actually stick out of the ribbon end. I generally just tend to hide it completely. So we put this aside, and the next thing we're going to have to do is separate the cords we have into 3 sections of 6, because we're going to be working with each section individually. So I'm going to just tuck these ones out of the way. We're going to be working with the first set of 6 on the left. Right, so that's out of the way. And these 6 cords, we're going to be sectioning them into 3 equal parts as well. And we're going to be tying a row of left double half hitches and a row of right double half hitches. To do this, take the first cord and attach the second cord with a left double half hitch. Pull it tight and repeat with the second cord, and that's our first row of left double half hitches. You notice that I tie this row at a slight angle. This is just so that we have a nice pyramid shape to start our bracelet. So set the first 3 cords aside and grab the next 3. And take the outmost 6th cord first, and then attach respectively cord 5 and cord 4 with a right double half hitch, because we are knotting from right to left. And again with cord number 5, or 4 rather. And that's it. And now we have created a nice little pyramid shape, but we're going to have to tie these off together. So what you do there is take cord number 3 and attach to cord number 4 with a right double half hitch. This will then tie off the pyramid. And sometimes it doesn't want to fit together, so you're just going to have to tug a little bit, especially with S-lon cord, which is a bit stubborn to work with sometimes. And that's it. You can notice here now that we have created a nice little pyramid. And we're going to repeat the same procedure again. So we're going to start on the left and attach the first 2 cords to the first holding cord. And then move over to the right, take your outmost 6th cord and attach cords 5 and 4 respectively. And then again, just as before, to close off the row, attach cord 3 to cord 4 with a right double half hitch. And the same procedure one more time. So take cord number 1 and attach cord 2 with a left double half hitch, then cord 3, and attach this again with a left double half hitch. And do the same on the right. And then finally tie off as before cord 3 to cord 4 with a right double half hitch. And now all that's left to do is you repeat this very same procedure with each of the remaining 2 sets of cords. So there's 6 here and 6 in this set. And just repeat the same procedure as before. Right, now we have created 3 equal parts and it's time to add the beads. So grab cord number 6 and cord number 7 and then take one of your beads and feed the cords through in opposing directions. So here I'm taking cord 7 and I'm feeding it through the bead in one direction. Feed it through. Then I'm taking cord 6 and feeding it through in the opposing direction so that the cord is suspended in between. You can see here, this is where your freight check comes in really handy, because you can see here my cord is splayed, and this is cause for a lot of frustration if you don't have that handy. So I quite like to use it. Okay, and luckily this one went through. And once you've got your cord through, it's quite fiddly sometimes, just pull it tight like so, and it fits nice and snug between the space. It's quite important that you have the right sized bead. If it's too big, it's going to splay these 2 sections apart, and if it's too small, it's going to bunch them together. So try and fit your beads in between to see that they're the right size before you actually start knotting. Right. So then next, take cord number 13 and cord number 12 and repeat the same procedure. Right, so now we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows on each of the sections. And now what we want to do is create the sort of wavy shape here on the first section. So set aside the last 12 cords, split your 6 cords in half again, and take cord number 3 and attach cord 2 and 1 respectively to it with right double half hitches. Like so. So that's the first cord. Then grab cord 1 and attach it with another right double half hitch, and this sort of reverses the arrow shape to point upwards rather than downwards, if you see what I mean. And once you've attached the first 3, set them aside and grab cords 4 to 6 and attach cord 5 and 6 respectively to cord 4 with left double half hitches. Like so. And this is creating the first half of our arc. So now we've got the section available, but we now need to reverse knotting direction in order to turn back towards the center. So what we have to do is grab the first cord and attach cord 2 to it with a left double half hitch. So that will help us to reverse knotting direction like so. And do the same on the other side and attach cord 5 to cord 6, this time with a right double half hitch to reverse the knotting direction. And as you can see already, the curve begins to come to a point again. Now the reason why I haven't attached the 2 center cords is obviously because now we're going to attach a bead to the 2 center cords so that the bead will sit in the center. So grab your seed bead or whichever bead you have handy for that, and thread cord 3 and 4 through the center like so, and then simply attach cord number 3 to cord 2 with a left double half hitch. This will secure the bead in place. And attach cord 4 to cord 5 with another right double half hitch. And this encases the bead nicely. And as before, we need to obviously close off the point here and attach cord 3 to cord 4 with a right double half hitch, and this will close the oval. Okay, now let's just repeat the same procedure again. So I'm going to grab cord number 3 and attach cord number 2 with a right double half hitch. Alright, set aside the first 3 cords, grab cord 4 and attach cord 5 to it with a left double half hitch. You can see how my work is moving around, so in this case I'm just going to take a pin to pin it through the project. This will actually help keep everything in place and it'll stop from moving it around. Right, so attach cord 5 to cord 4 with a left double half hitch, and again, and now remember we have to reverse knotting direction, so start with cord number 2 and 1 and attach cord 2 to cord 1 with a left double half hitch. Alright, and then move on to the other side, leaving the 2 center cords to sit for now because we are going to attach a bead. Grab cord 6 and attach cord 5 to it with a right double half hitch. And again, that's it. And now grab one of your seed beads and thread it onto your seed bead and your cords 3 and 4, and then simply tie it shut. Right, first of all we have to knot the bead in place. Okay. And again, sits nicely in the center, and close off your oval by attaching the 2 center cords together. In this case, cord 3 to cord 4 with a right double half hitch. And this is a nice sort of middle section. And now what you need to do, obviously repeat exactly the same process with the other 2 sections. Right, I've gone ahead and tied 2 identical sections to the first one, and the next thing we're going to have to do is simply repeat the pattern from the start. So I'm going to move away the last 12 cords again, and we're going to be working with the first 6. So we're going to start by tying a row of left double half hitches. I'm just going to pin this down a little. Right. It's basically repeating the pattern from the start. Right, and moving over to the right. You can see the pattern emerging. It's precisely the same as it is at the beginning. And now tie this shut. Right, and that's it. And you can see that the end of the wave pattern is actually the beginning of the new pattern. So you can see here, I'm just going to remove this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, and it's exactly the same here. So you will have a total of 5 rows. So what you need to do, obviously, as before, is tie 1, 2, 3 rows, add a bead, then add another 2 rows, and repeat the wave pattern and do the same for all of the other sections, and simply repeat this pattern until you have reached the desired length for your bracelet. Right, I have created a total of 5 sections, and we are now going to tie the last bit. It's going to be exactly the same as at the beginning. Obviously the end here is going to be the reverse of the top. One other thing I wanted to show you is if you're using the 6-odd seed beads, they can be hidden underneath, so you can just gently pop them out so that they sit more proud at the top of the bracelet. Right, so let's just get going with attaching the last bits. I'm just going to zoom in a bit so that you can actually see what I'm doing. And the next thing we're going to have to do is obviously take the last of your shorter cords. Remember at the beginning we had 2. This is quite a fiddly bit, so you have to be patient with it. We're going to attach it to the bottom here. So take one of your pins. I find this really quite useful. What I do here is I wrap the cord around my pin like so, and then pin it to my macrame board, so that it can't move, if you can see what I'm doing here. And if it's not going in, just pull it a bit more, because you're going to be pulling it. Right, and next pin down your work as well so that it can't move. And what we have to do now is tie a row of left double half hitches with the remaining cords, because we obviously have to attach them. This pesky little cord is just a tad too long. Right, okay. So take your holding cord and grab the first cord in line. And this is going to be the most fiddly bit, so you have to be very slow and gentle with it. So simply tie a left double half hitch as if you would with the previous row we've made. You can see it here, it's a little bit loose, so you just have to pull that tight gently and hold the 2 cords with your fingers, and then try and just loop that cord over the 2 taut cords and gently pull it tight. As I said, the first knot generally is quite tricky, but once you have it tied, the next ones are much easier. So then we're going to carry on, tie the next one in line, and then just continue tying your row as you did with the beginning. And you can see already it's forming quite nicely. You can then release the cord after you've knotted a few. Just be careful when you're knotting, because it's possible for you, if you release it, that when you pull it here, it can actually just pull out of the row and you have to start all over again. Right. Oh, I think I tied one knot too many. This is a good opportunity for me to show you one more thing. Is when I've made a mistake with some of my knots, I find it quite useful to have a needle in hand. I'm just going to go this side because of the light, and I use it to undo my knots like so without damaging the cord. It's a lot easier with a wax cord because the knots come undone easier. With lawn cord you have to be careful not to actually hit the center of the cord, otherwise you're going to fray it really easily. And then just continue knotting as before. Right, and this is the first row, and if you remember well, just as we did in the beginning, we need a pin. I'm just going to release the cord here on the left, so you don't need to do that, and just if necessary just pull it into shape a little to make it a bit straighter, and then pin it down again. And what we're going to do now is, like at the top, we're going to create 3 rows. So I'm going to use my pin to reverse knotting direction. So I'm going to take my holding cord, fold it over, and just as before, make 3 rows. And then I'm going to show you how to actually finish off everything. Okay, so I have now tied 3 rows. I wasn't going to bore you again by making you watch me tie some left double half hitches, so I finished off. And now it's time to actually cut off the cords and attach our ribbon ends. So the first thing that you should do before that is obviously attach a bit of glue, goodness me, to the cord ends, like so. You can see my hypo cement has suffered a bit. It's been well used, but this is what you really should use. It's quite useful because it has a very thin nozzle, which makes it easy to apply. So once you've done that, set your project aside to let it dry for about 10 minutes. That's enough. And then, don't be scared, take a pair of scissors and simply trim off the ends. I know this is quite daunting because it is a very sort of permanent measure, but if you've put glue on there and you're sure that you're happy with what you've done, this is okay to do. So once you've done that, you move away all the bits and pieces, and some people do it, some people don't. I generally don't mind using a lighter to burn off even lawn cord. I mean, with wax cord it's a lot better to do because the wax melts away and it gives it a nice shine and finish. With lawn cord often you are left with little bits and pieces that just stick out, and I find them to be quite unsightly. So what I've resorted in doing is, actually a friend of mine showed me how to do this, is even with lawn cord I just take a lighter and I burn off the ends, because it does make them look, the ends, a lot smoother. You obviously have to be careful. Here in this case it doesn't really matter if it's a little bit black, because it's going to be covered by the ribbon end, but obviously in projects where these ends are going to be shown you have to be a bit more careful. Do the same on this side. Now I forgot to mention the cords that you have used in the beginning to tie the rows of double half hitches. You just cut them off as well with glue, and you just tap them down, and that's it. This is your bracelet done. And the last step you're going to have to do is just take your ribbon ends, obviously attach your findings to them, and then simply slide them over your bracelet like so, and just gently press them down. I just need to grab my pair of pliers, like so. It's a bit difficult to do it with the camera because I'm trying to keep it in focus. And also one more thing, don't worry if the bracelet appears to be too short, because obviously the chain that you're going to attach will resolve this issue. So that's one end attached, it's a bit skew. Move on to the other side and do the same on this. And that's it. This is your bracelet done. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video and have fun knotting this bracelet.